Hello, it's me, Shiny Magneton. Today I will be showing you how to fight an offensive war in Minecraft. Before we start, let's define a war. A war has to be in a moderate to large-sized server with at least 2 different factions fighting. The minimum sides for a military should be 10 to 15 people on both sides. Also, make sure to subscribe if you want. Okay, let's start the video now. Forming a military is the most important part of a war. If you didn't think that, you should maybe reconsider this war in the first place. The first problem is getting people in the military. The thing is though, this is Minecraft. War is fun. So as long as you give the army good pay, you'll be fine. Propaganda could also be used to portray soldiers as brave souls fighting off the evil beast known as generic faction number 2. Giving additional benefits also helps. Another important aspect of forming a military is getting people to stay in the military. One thing that helps is keeping morale up. Morale is one of the few things that could change the course of a war. In World War I, the Russian armies had such low morale that they didn't want to fight. A lot of people deserted. You don't want to be Russia in 1917. Nobody wants to be Russia in 1917. Keeping morale up is a lot easier in Minecraft than real life. War is fun. But it doesn't hurt to give your soldiers decent conditions during a war. Your army needs people in non-combat roles to give the army food, weapons, munitions, etc. Before moving on to part 2, I'm going to talk about conscription. Conscription usually either works really well or backfires instantly. People play Minecraft as an escape from reality. A world with no rules. A land where people can do whatever they want. When you make a server based on war and democracy, the whole no limitations thing gets thrown out the window. But people generally don't like being forced into doing things when they really don't have to. If you force people who don't want to go to war, they will probably just leave the server. For wars, I would stay with the psychological side of morale. And way on to part 2. Raw materials can be surprisingly hard to come by. The amount of supplies you can send to the military is limited by how much iron is in your territory. Iron is probably the most important raw material in a large-scale war. Iron is the most cost-effective material for a conflict. I'd even argue that it's the most cost-effective item in Minecraft. Iron is what you use to make your armor. It's what you use to make your swords. It's what you use to make your crossbows. It's what you use to make railways. I could go on. You might be asking,
but Shiny, diamonds are way better than iron. Why are you including diamonds instead of iron, you stupid fuck?
But diamonds are a lot harder to find than iron. I'm not saying to not use diamonds if you are able to use some, just don't use them as your minimum requirement for equipment. What I am saying to not use is netherite. Netherite is not worth the struggle of finding diamonds, TNT mining in the nether, getting gold, and having to craft it all up at the end, just to get +1 armor toughness and +1 knockback resistance compared to diamond. It's just not worth it. Another problem with netherite, and diamonds too, is that you can't farm them without glitches. You shouldn't be using glitches, by the way. The ores you can farm that are also relevant are iron and gold. Gold should only be used as a backup to iron. If you don't have enough iron, you can use gold to make up for the iron shortage. Of course, there are also items that aren't just ores and minerals. Food is very important for soldiers. The best food to give to your soldiers is probably steak. Steak is easy to farm. If you just get some cows to step up to the guillotine and cook it, you get steak. There's a big debate about whether steak and golden carrots are better. Steak gives more hunger points, and golden carrots give more saturation. You might be surprised to hear that steak is objectively better than golden carrots. It cures your hunger way more efficiently. Stop building massive gold farms just to get food that isn't as good as a cow farm. There's also golden apples. Golden apples shouldn't be seen as food, but more of a medkit. It heals your health points way better than your hunger. You should bring golden apples if you can. Enchanted golden apples are like netherite, but to an even greater extent. They are so rare that it's better to just ignore them. Totems of undying are really useful if you can get your hands on some. They aren't as useless as netherite or as rare as enchanted golden apples. They are pretty difficult to farm though. Some other smaller items that I don't want to write a full paragraph about because this section is getting long anyway are ender pearls for escaping deadly situations, cobwebs or berry bushes for trench warfare, flint and steel for scorched earth strategies, water buckets for clutching, explosives for bombing, chorus fruit for a get out of jail free card, and obviously blocks for building. Part 3 now. Having different branches in your military is important. The most obvious branch is the army. Ground forces are the easiest to supply, command, and most people get the gist of it fairly quickly. It's just regular PvP. The ground forces should make up roughly 75% of your military. The next branch I'm going to talk about is the Navy. The Navy is not nearly as good in Minecraft as it is in real life. In real life, it's kind of overpowered. You can do a naval blockade in real life, but because of the way Minecraft generates its terrain, you can just go on land. If the enemy can't go on land to avoid naval invasions disrupting their economy, then the enemy probably has a better navy. If you are an island nation, then you can justify having a navy. Or an amphibious invasion of the enemy territory. Like the Norman conquest, or the invasion of Sicily. This can help, but you can just put regular soldiers in boats when you need to do a naval invasion. There's also the Air Force. There are 4 main types of air units. The first kind are the fighters. The fighters are the people with elytra that swoop down to hit the enemies and firework away. These are very effective but insanely expensive. You need elytra, a constant supply of fireworks, a maxed out sword, and maybe a bow. If you can get maybe just 1 or 2 of these, that would be great. The second type are bombers. These are in my opinion the most effective. It's just a bomb duper, or a guy placing bombs, put on top of a flying machine, using masking tape or something I don't know. Recon units are the third type of aircraft. You give a player an elytra, some fireworks, and boom, you have a recon unit. Spying on the enemy can be pretty useful. The last type of aircraft are transport aircraft. It's just a bomber but without the bombing. You can use this for transporting aid to your allies, or to territory under siege, or maybe to some islands that you don't have a bridge to, or maybe to send supplies to your ground force deep into enemy territory. Or you could use transport planes for paratrooping. I'm going to keep this section short so I don't dive into every tiny little speck of strategic importance. Rivers are very good defensive positions in real life. In Minecraft they aren't. In real life, probably around 103% of people are better at running than swimming. But in Minecraft, you are the same exact speed swimming and running. Combat is also way harder underwater. It's so easy to just run from the enemy if you're losing. It's also easier to dodge projectiles like arrows and potions underwater. If anything, rivers are more detrimental than helpful if you are defending. Oh hey, look at the title of this video, this is about offensive wars. That means if you are going to invade another country, you should try river borders to invade first. Mountains on the other hand are amazing for defense. Good luck climbing an entire mountain that can go up to 255 blocks into the sky. And 1.18 is going to make that go up even higher. And good luck digging through one too. Also having to deal with the constant Y level changes, and keep in mind people are still shooting at you. Don't invade through mountains, it's not worth it. Just don't. Those are the main 2 geographic challenges you'll commonly find. There are some other rarer ones such as cities, which are very important to invade through. If you go around cities and just invade rural areas, you won't be able to threaten a majority of the population, or more importantly, their government. Pillager outposts are an interesting structure. If there is no enemy in sight, just ignore them. If the enemies are approaching, climb the outpost. With the high ground, you can easily pick them off one by one. Also, the respawning pillagers will lower their health more, so if the opposition do break through, they'll have a hard time trying to kill 10 of you because they're wounded. Bombing the stairs can also be useful, so they have to build up manually, where they can easily be shot down. Jungles can be annoying to traverse, they're so full of Y-level changes, trees that obstruct vision, jungle factions can be annoying to invade. I'd recommend blowing up as much of the jungle using air bombers as possible. That makes it a lot easier to traverse jungle terrain. Swamps will be annoying as well. Replace the Y-level changes from the jungle terrain, and substitute that for annoying water and lily pads everywhere. Normal plains, snowy biomes, and deserts are relatively easy to traverse. Go through these if you can. However, don't feel obligated to follow every tip exactly how I wrote them. Command the way you want to command. Just remember, this is Minecraft, not everything will work perfectly. That's the end of this
very long video.
I hope you enjoyed it. I might make a part 2 in the future. This video was fun to make. Like, sub, bell, bye.